as it's Halloween coming up soon, I thought we'd do an underrated film review for Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. And this is known to be the odd Halloween film because it's the only one that doesn't have Michael Myers in it. So, that's a bit odd, you might think. So basically, when Halloween 1 was done, that's all John Carpenter wanted to do with the series. And then Halloween 2 came along because the studio wanted it and a lot of people wanted the film, so he didn't actually direct Halloween 2, but he had quite a lot of input on it. And Halloween 2 was a very good film. It followed Halloween 1. Halloween 1 was still better, but obviously Halloween 2 was actually quite good for a sequel. And he really didn't want any involvement in the project after that, working on sequels, but the studio pretty much said we're going to keep making Halloween sequels. So he pitched the idea that they basically do an anthology series where each Halloween film would have a different theme and plot. And this was actually quite original and refreshing, but sadly when the film came out at the time nobody knew that, and they thought it was going to be another Michael Myers Halloween film, and then nobody liked it, the critics hated it and the audience hated it. But it's since gone on to become quite a cult film, and it's a shame that they didn't do more anthology Halloween films, because it was certainly a lot more interesting than the copy and paste Michael Myers film that came afterwards. So the film's directed by Tommy Lee Wallace, not actually John Carpenter, as a lot of the boxes seem to make out, although Carpenter I think co-directed it and did production type stuff as a producer, so obviously he had a lot of input on the film, and it does feel very much like a John Carpenter film. The soundtrack was done by John Carpenter and Alan Howarth, so it's a very similar soundtrack to the other type of films. It's got Tom Atkins as the main role. Now I don't really want to spoil the film other than saying it's definitely worth watching, but it has nothing to do with Michael Myers and it's not really a slasher film. It's about witchcraft and sort of the technological stuff meet sort of horror. It's a bit like The Wicker Man in some ways if it was made a bit more sci-fi. What I really like about Halloween 3 is that it's different and it's not a copy and paste slash a sequel. And it did get really unfair, ratings at the time. It's a very good film, all things considered, but it didn't, a bit like David Lynch's Dune in my opinion. It did very badly at the time, everyone hated it, but you can now look back at it in hindsight and say it was actually pretty good. So it's definitely an underrated film. I advise you to watch it. One funny thing is that don't go into it initially, but if you've seen it before, rewatch it imagining it as a Bond film and it suddenly makes a lot more sense. Some of the aspects of it which I find quite funny. Not that it's actually a Bond film, but in the sense that it's got all the same plot elements of a Bond film with a Bond villain in. So just to keep it short, Halloween 3 is definitely worth a watch, and it's the oddball of the Halloween series, but it's a shame they didn't make more Halloween films like this.